Do you want to learn how to make a delicious meat stew that melts in your mouth? Using simple ingredients but with a lot of flavor? Then watch this video until the end to see how to make this traditional Flemish recipe, which is very famous and successful in many snack bars and restaurants in Belgium and in the Netherlands. I will also show you a faster cooking method that shortens the cooking time and still preserves the flavors. This famous meat stew is called Stoofvlees, and the meats used to prepare it are usually the toughest cuts of meat, such as chuck steak, beef blade steaks, beef ribs, or lean meats in general. I start the recipe by seasoning the meat with coarse salt and black pepper, do it on one side, and then turn the other sides of the pieces to season evenly. After that, I let the meat rest for about 20 minutes at room temperature to absorb the salt and pepper. Next I sear the meat in the hot oil. You can use any oil you like, the important thing is that it is very hot when you put the meat to sear. Here I dry the meat off with a paper towel, as it ends up getting a little damp because of the reaction with the coarse salt. When you put the meats to seal, don't keep stirring and turning all the time, do it only once, when you turn to fry the other side. After frying all the pieces, I use a very sharp knife to remove these nerves from the sides and from the middle of the meat. Actually, these nerves are fibers of the connective tissue present in the muscles, and they are rich in collagen and elastin. They are harder and it takes a long time to cook and dissolve. By removing them, I also shorten the cooking time. Therefore, in the traditional recipe, the meat is cooked on low heat for a long time to make it tender. During this boiling process, substances that keep the meat tough, such as collagen and elastin, are broken down and the meat becomes very tender. If you prefer, you can make the stoofvlees without removing these parts, but the cooking time will be a little longer. But I'm not gonna throw these parts away, because they are rich in nutrients, especially collagen, and I use them to make a wonderful natural beef broth, which I even made a video showing how I prepare it, and the link is in the description of this video. Stoofvlees is a typical Flemish dish, a term used to refer to the Flanders region, which comprises what is now northern Belgium and parts of the Netherlands and France. It is one of the most traditional recipes in this region, being easily found in most snack bars and in several restaurants in Belgium and Holland. It is a dish with a delicious combination of flavors, where the beer is the star ingredient, as it is what gives the stew most of its flavor. While specific recipes vary by region, the base is the same, a beef stew made with Belgian beer. If you want to stick to the recipe, you really need to use a Belgian beer, preferably brown, as it has a deeper flavor. But if you can't find a brown Belgian beer, you can use another beer of your choice. The other ingredients used in this recipe are 2 tablespoons of mustard, 2 tablespoons of fruit syrup. I use this apple syrup, which is very traditional, but you can replace it with cane molasses or honey. 1 tomato, 1 medium onion, 4 cloves of garlic. Here I have black pepper, cloves and salt. Thyme and rosemary, 3 bay leaves, 3 small carrots or 1 large one, 1 leek stalk, and 2 loaves. Traditionally, stoofvlees is prepared in an iron pan, which can be cooked in the oven or on the stove at low temperature. This slow cooking ensures more flavor to the dish. However, here I'm going to use a faster cooking method, and it will be just as tasty as the traditional one. For this I will use a pressure cooker. Then I put oil in the pan, then add garlic and onion and the other ingredients, leek, tomato, carrot. Here I crush the garlic together with the cloves and the pepper. Add the bay leaves, thyme and rosemary. Then mix well and let it saute for 3 to 5 minutes. Now it's time to add the meat. Here I have 600 grams of meat. Next I add the brown Belgian beer. I use 2 300 milliliters bottles. Lastly, I add the 2 tablespoons of apple syrup. And then I spread mustard on the 2 loaves, and then I place them on top of the meat. cover the pan and let it cook for 20 minutes. I only start counting the time after the cooker gets pressure. After 20 minutes I open the pan and see how the meat is done. The pieces are still a little firm, so I'm going to finish cooking in the pan with the lid open. Here I change the pan to make it easier to see. Then I add 500 milliliters of this natural beef broth that I made myself, which there is a recipe here on the channel, but if you want you can dilute a beef broth tablet in 500 milliliters of hot water. However, natural is always better. I let it cook for another 30 minutes with the pan uncovered, and it stayed like this. The flavor of this beef stew is indescribable, that's why it's so popular and so successful. A tip about the meat: don't cut the pieces of meat too small, as they will soften and melt during cooking. The ideal is that it stays like this, half melted and a little bit into pieces. This recipe is served with traditional Flemish fries, but you can also serve it with mashed potatoes, rice, and even pasta. Another common side dish to this recipe in Holland is wholemeal bread with mustard. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel that will be posting more recipes like this, with curiosities and cooking tips for dishes that are successful around the world, and that we can easily cook at home. Don't forget your like, and thanks for watching this video.